too big, but so is Ron's. I'll just say that. All right. But let's move it along here. So Devonte Wyatt back at practice. It was Ryan Wood who tweeted out this video here. Devonte Wyatt is practicing for a second straight day, this time in pads. A very good sign. Tim, I got to be honest, man. Yesterday, I was kind of trying to curb the enthusiasm. Like, all right, he was back at practice, but I didn't see him hitting anything. And now you see him in pads looking like they're actually testing it. Do you think there's a realistic shot Devonte Wyatt plays this week, man?
Heavy D in the house. I hope so. But again, we've been down this road, 10 or 20 times before, right? If it means him having a setback and missing more time, then I say no. If he's good to go, we're going to need all hands on deck against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. So, it's no joke. We haven't won a game there since 1970. So we need everyone we can, and especially in the middle. It's just good to see him out there, even if it is hitting tackling dummies and kind of limited, or I think he was limited, right? He wasn't full participant. He was limited today. I'm sure we'll hit on that.
It's good. Yeah, we'll hit on it here in a minute for sure.
Getting them back, and good to see the icy white helmets. So there's a little insight, right? Looks like the Pack is going to wear the all whites on the road this Sunday.
Yeah, and he was limited today, and yet it has been confirmed they're going to go with the whiteout uniforms, or the winter warning uniforms.
Winter warming.
Yeah,
and the reason maybe Sunday Night Football. Let's go.
They're going to do that because the Steelers are wearing their throwbacks and they got the yellow helmet. So, and I've seen people bashing it. I kind of like that stuff, man. I mean, it's not like
we'd wear the 1923 throwbacks on the road and have a throwback game. But I like the look though. We're the all whites. The players love it. It's icy white look. Winter warning game makes sense.
Yeah. And listen, no matter what uniform they wear, if Devonte Wyatt's out there, he's going to look good in it. I know Micah Parsons is excited about potentially getting him back. Ryan Wood also tweeted this out. Micah Parsons on the impact getting Devonte Wyatt back on the field would have for the Packers defense. Let's see what number one here had to say old Micah Parsons about Devonte Wyatt.
It's a huge impact. I think he makes my life easier. He understands how to rush, how to play, his play style. I just think he brings guys along. His energy is contagious. He's such a standard in the room. You can tell he learned after some really good guys, and he just carries it with him every day. He has that G mentality, that dog mentality, and he's just fun to play with. How can you use the?
All right, so there you go.
Obviously, they let Micah get past the loading dock. They just hit him with the the press corps right away. It sounded like he was didn't even make it to the locker room.
Absolutely, man. And again, I think what he's saying is true. However, I do want to say this, man. Devonte Wyatt, this defense has looked different since he's been out, right? Yeah. So if you look at it from that standpoint, yeah, he makes a huge difference. I think we would all agree. However, if you look at some of the analytics, some of the grades and stuff, I really want to just point out that just because we're not getting the overall result in some of these games, like a dominant defensive performance, it doesn't mean these interior backups are playing bad. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Let me get to the super chat first. Celestial Prophet 2013 with the super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. He said, just wanted to say, love the channel. Y'all always backing J Love, which is good to see. Keep up the great work. Thank you for the kind words there, Celestial Prophet. Appreciate it, buddy. Really, really do, man. You guys have no idea how much that means because – we're in here talking every day, and you get some knuckleheads that come through, right? And they just want to be negative. They want to troll, disagree on everything. But overall, man, the group that we've got in here is awesome. So I tell people when they first jump in, hey, love the channel, man, embed yourself in the chat on YouTube and come in to encourage and agree to disagree and all that, right? And it's just a really, really cool community, man. And it has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with the people that are watching the show. But we greatly appreciate that, man. Thank you for the kind words there. Sure. So here's what I wanted to point out, Tim. Devonte Wyatt. Let's talk from a PFF standpoint, and then we'll go to NFL Pro and look at some of the pressure percentage and some of the other analytics. Okay, Devonte Wyatt's grading out as the 25th best interior defender. Now you got to be careful with this because some of these guys, like Micah, for instance, Micah is listed as a linebacker for the Packers. Okay, and the reason being is he's probably played standing up more than he has with his hand in the dirt. That's the only reason I can come up with. Plus, we play him in that joker spot, which is technically a 3-3-5 with an A-gap mug. And so he's listed as a linebacker. But you'll get some of these guys that are actually listed as an interior defender just because they're rushing on the inside more so. I wish they would separate it into defensive line, edge,
And
And then
linebacker.
and then linebacker. That's how I wish they would do it. And be aware that the guys, even though they're playing Joker and kind of lining up in that A gap, they're still an edge defender. That's what they do, predominantly. So anyway, with that being said, there may be a couple of extra people in this grouping that's not actually interior defenders. Okay. But Devonte Wyatt's grading out as the 25th best interior defender in the National Football League right now, a 72.6 overall PFF grade. Okay. So his pass rush grade of a 79.2 is stout there as well. But Tim, what I want to point out, there's the coughs. Kobe Wooden, 18th now, bro, at a 73.8. And again, PFF isn't everything, but it just goes to show you Kobe Wooden kind of held his ground while Devonte Wyatt's been out. And you look at the score and you see that the defense maybe ain't performing as dominant as they were last year. So you think, oh, well, they're playing worse because Devonte Wyatt's out. Guys, that's a very, very, very casual way to fan. And you'll hear sports talk show hosts, they'll say that, well, this defense really struggles since they lost Devonte Wyatt. Okay, it appears that way, but let's look at the PFF grade. Well, PFF isn't everything. Right. Let's look at the NFL Pro data. Let's look at the pressure percentage. Let's watch the tape. And what we've seen on tape, Tim, Kobe Wooden playing like a madman. I'll tell you another one. Warren Brinson has really flashed, and that's caught me off guard because obviously we chose to kind of prop Nazir Stackhouse up in somewhat of a prominent role in the 53 and active pretty much every game day because he's that true nose build. But Warren Brinson's done pretty good, right? Carl Brooks hasn't been that bad. So PFF-wise, you've got two interior defensive tackles in the top 25, one of which, and Kobe Wooden, is grading out higher than Devonte Wyatt, man.
Yeah, and the other one hasn't played in 3 weeks, right? So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding right here. And, we can't say enough about Kobe Wooden. Matter of fact, everyone should just keep talking about him because he's been slept on for far too long. We saw flashes last season, and then going into camp this year, we saw him making strides. And, lo and behold, Heavy D goes down and, Kobe gets an opportunity to step up and fill in that gap, right? Next man up. And if you look at the numbers, at least PFF wise, he basically picked up right where Devonte left off.
Yes.
And, allowed us to continue to be a force to be reckoned with in the middle of that D line. And, like you said, we've had contributions from other guys as well. I think about Warren Brinson as well, a rookie that's the more playing time and more reps he gets, the better off he's going to be long term. But bottom line, we can't wait to see Devonte Wyatt back out there. And if that means Kobe Wooden gets less snaps, I'm sure he's prepared for that, and he's prepared to contribute every snap that he does get. And you got to tip your cap to him, man, really, because we talked about these last couple of games kind of not being as pretty as we wanted them to be. They could have been a hell of a lot worse if we didn't have the guys stepping up that did. So big shout out to Kobe Wooden.
Yeah, Jen Wright says Wooden passes the eye test. He really does. And again, that's what I'm saying. If it was just PFF data and I'm watching the tape and going, it don't line up, that's not the case. Like, he's looked really, really good. He has. And it's kind of caught me off guard. The other thing I want to mention about Kobe Wooden before we move on to NFL Pro is notice with Devonte Wyatt, his run defense grade, a 53.7. I'm pretty sure I got that right. Yeah, run defense grade is a 53.7, okay? And his pass rush grade is a 79.2. That's stout, right? But, leaves a little bit to be desired as a run defender. Kobe Wooden is solid across the board, man. You're talking about 73.8, 67.5 run defense grade, 67.6 pass rush grade. And coverage grade, it don't matter. Every now and again, you may drop him off into some kind of fire zone blitz or something like that. But really, really impressive from those guys. Right now, let's see.
And Kobe's barely 25, right? So the future looks bright, right? We've got somebody here possibly for the long run here.
So we've looked at that stat, right? Now let's cross-check it. Let's compare it to NFL Pro data, okay? So again, these are all of our defensive linemen. Now, NFL Pro puts all the defensive linemen together, edge and defensive tackle. So, and keep in mind, they've actually got, you won't see our boy Micah Parsons on this list because they've got him listed as a linebacker as well. I don't know how these people have just bottomless pockets to fund a project like a website like this and not even get the positions correctly. Is just mind-boggling to me. But anyway, let's just focus on the interior defensive lineman. So when we go quarterback pressure percentage, Tim, look who's leading the way. 11.8% is actually Warren Brinson. And I wanted to mention this too. With Kobe Wooden, I wanted to say, he's got less snaps than Devonte Wyatt, so, take it with a grain of salt. That's not true. he's actually got significantly more snaps than Devonte Wyatt. So he's been tested quite often. However, Warren Brinson here, he's only played 49 snaps, but 11.8 pressure percentage is really, really impressive, man. He's also got 2 stops so far as well. Next, you've got Devonte Wyatt at 8% pressure. And again, this is GPS tracking. How close the defender gets to the ball before it comes out of the quarterback's hand is essentially how they track their pressures over. There's the way I understand it. And you can watch every pressure by clicking on that number too. Next, you've got Carl Brooks at 7.6%, and then Colby Wooden only at a 5.1%, Tim. So that's significantly lower than what you would think the PFF grade is. So if you take both and put them together, right, and kind of equal value, if you will, it kind of tells the story of Colby Wooden just kind of being somewhat stable. You want his pass rush to be better, obviously, but he's more of a run defender than a pass rusher, honestly. However, you remember the draw play they ran? I think it looked like a draw because he got in the backfield so quick. Remember that block shed he had and tackled for a loss in the last game against Arizona? So seems to be a little more stout against the run than the pass, although PFF had him pretty even across the board. And just wanted to point out that according to NFL Pro, Wyatt has 8% pressure rate right now. You want that up to about 10%, although on the interior, Tim, you don't really expect those guys to crack 10% much because there's some of them being asked to do the touch spy and kind of hold your gap and this and that, right? So it gets a little bit wonky in that regard. He does have 2 sacks too on only 100 whatever you call pass rushes. So I just wanted to cross check that. What's your thoughts on that? I think it's pretty cool that Warren Brinson logging in at 11.8% there, man.
Yeah, I love it. And then just really real quick talking about Devonte Wyatt, 8%, if he's north of that and yet he's missed the last 3 weeks and he's still holding at that spot, I'll take it. I can't wait till he's back full strength. But looking at our rookies, between Brinson, Sorrell, and Nas Stackhouse, you see Nas Stackhouse is getting the bulk of the snaps here. I would fully expect that depending on how things shake up, we could see more of Warren Brinson and possibly more of Barron Sorrell as the weeks progress here, depending on how, guys look on that line. Again, Devonte Wyatt, we hope he's back, but again, we don't know. But a lot to be excited about, man. You've got Colby Wooden, like we just talked about, playing great. LVN, a bit of a question mark with that foot, so we can talk about the game that Kingsley and Igbari had last week, which I thought was great. Guys are stepping up, man. Next man up. We talked about these guys playing as a unit, playing for each other. We've had multiple guys down in all 3 phases of the game, special teams, offense, and defense. We've had major significant injuries, and whether it's a backup new kicker, whether it's a defensive tackle, whether it's an edge guy, running back, whoever, somebody has stepped up and filled the void. And we've found a way to be here sitting with 4 wins and 1 loss, and we'll love it.
Yeah, definitely. We got Jacob joining us now. Jacob, I know you came in on the backside of this conversation. We were just talking about Devonte Wyatt being in full pads today. Yesterday, he was limited, was not in pads. Today, he's still limited, but in pads. And we were just kind of talking about potentially him playing Sunday night there against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got anything you want to add to that at all, man?
No, I mean, obviously it'd be nice to get him back in the rotation. I was listening to Micah's press conference on the way after work here, and he just reiterated how big of an impact player he is. Makes his job so much easier, makes the guys that he's playing next to on that D-line's job more easier. He said he's a hype man. He kind of brings the tenacity and the ferocity and all this kind of stuff. Really, he says, kind of gets the guys jacked up for getting them in the moment kind of thing. So the old tale that we've learned here in Green Bay is we don't want to force these guys back too early and then end up risking the further injury and having that extended. So if there's any sort of question as to that, I totally think that I'm cool with letting some of the younger guys. Really encouraging to see Brinson's numbers up there. Even guys like you just mentioned, Brooks and Wooden, have just, I believe, taken a massive step in their reliability and just them becoming professionals.
Yeah, definitely the DeMarcus Covington effect. You can just tell it's making an impact. So we got Emilio joining us now. Let's jump on to kicker talk here. Emilio, you doing okay, buddy? You all right, man?
Yeah. All I was going to add to that, the D-line talk, was Hafley was saying, at some point you're going to need to have depth. So at least right now with D Wyatt out, you get the extra reps for Brinson, for Wooden, for Stackhouse, like you're saying. Just get those reps. You see the guys getting better. You see them getting that actual playing time in the game. Once Wyatt comes back, all right, cool. Maybe you dial the snaps back. But again, later on in the year, you're probably going to need him again. We're probably going to have to lean on him. Who was the running back for our Super Bowl run? Horns up, baby Starks. You know what I mean? So it's like you don't even plan for it; it just happens.
Absolutely, man. Jacob knows all about that. Anyway, let's move it along. So, his 1987